Under the scorching sun of the Peloponnese, a city unlike any other rose, Sparta, a crucible of warriors where discipline and martial skill were not just ideals, but a way of life. In this city-state, military prowess was everything. The Spartans, raised from birth to be soldiers, were feared and respected throughout the Greek world. Their discipline was legendary, their courage unwavering, and their loyalty to Sparta, absolute. The Spartans were not just soldiers, they were the guardians of Greek civilization. Their society, rigid and highly stratified, revolved around the army. From a young age, Spartan children underwent rigorous military training known as the agoge. This system sought to forge exceptional warriors, instilling in them resilience, obedience, and a disregard for death in battle. The Spartans were masters of land warfare. Their army, made up of heavily armed hoplites, formed the famous phalanx, a nearly impenetrable formation that crushed their enemies. The discipline and cohesion of the Spartan phalanx were unmatched, making them the most formidable military force in ancient Greece. The agoge, which began at the age of 7, was a crucible where Sparta's future warriors were forged. Separated from their families, Spartan children were grouped into packs and subjected to relentless physical and mental training. They learned to endure pain, hunger, and fatigue. They were taught to fight fiercely, and to value honor and glory above all else. Discipline was at the heart of the agoge. Young Spartans were flogged for the slightest infraction, and were expected to endure the punishment without showing pain. They were taught to be cunning, brave, and ruthless in battle. The goal was to eliminate any trace of individualism and forge a unit of obedient and lethal warriors. Education in the agoge was not limited to military training. Spartan children also received instruction in music, poetry, and dance, although always with a warrior focus. They were taught to appreciate the beauty and discipline of coordinated movement, essential qualities for success in battle. In the 5th century BC, the vast and powerful Persian Empire cast its menacing shadow over Greece. Led by King Darius I, the Persians sought to expand their empire westward, subjecting the Greek city-states to their rule. The Persian threat united the Greek cities, traditionally divided by internal rivalries, into a precarious alliance to defend their freedom. The Greco-Persian Wars, a series of conflicts between Greeks and Persians, became a clash of civilizations, a struggle between freedom and tyranny, between Athenian democracy and Persian despotism. In this epic confrontation, Sparta, with its army of highly disciplined warriors, would play a crucial role. The first Persian invasion, led by Darius I, was halted at the Battle of Marathon in 490 BC, where the Athenians won a decisive victory. However, the Persians, thirsty for revenge, were determined to conquer Greece. 10 years later, Darius's son, Xerxes I, launched a second invasion, much larger and more formidable. Section 4. Leonidas, the Lion of Sparta. At the forefront of the Greek resistance against the Second Persian invasion was Leonidas I, king of Sparta. Known for his bravery and determination, Leonidas embodied the ideal of the Spartan warrior. He was a born leader, respected by his men, and feared by his enemies. When Xerxes I led his vast army towards Greece, Leonidas answered the call to battle with the unwavering determination that characterized the Spartans. Aware of the magnitude of the Persian threat, Leonidas selected 300 of the best Spartan warriors, all of them men with sons who could take their place in the phalanx in case of death, to face the enemy in a narrow mountain pass called Thermopylae. Leonidas knew that Thermopylae with its narrow gorges would give them a tactical advantage over the numerous Persian army. It was a suicide mission, but Leonidas and his men were determined to fight to the death to defend their homeland. Section 5. Thermopylae, a Strait of Glory. In 480 BC, the Battle of Thermopylae became a scene of unparalleled heroism and sacrifice. For 2 days, the 300 Spartans, along with a small contingent of other Greeks, bravely resisted the massive waves of the Persian army. The Spartan phalanx, a wall of bronze and shields, stood firm, inflicting heavy casualties on the Persians. The Persians, despite their numerical superiority, were frustrated by the discipline and ferocity of the Spartans. However, betrayal sealed the fate of the Greeks. A local shepherd revealed to the Persians a secret mountain pass, allowing them to surround the Greek forces. Faced with certain defeat, Leonidas ordered most of his Greek allies to retreat, while he and the 300 Spartans, along with some Thespian and Theban allies, remained in the pass to cover their withdrawal. Knowing they faced certain death, they fought with even greater ferocity, killing as many Persians as they could. Section 6. The Legacy of the 300 Echoes of Valor. The Battle of Thermopylae, although a military defeat, became a moral victory for the Greeks. The sacrifice of the 300 Spartans became a symbol of courage, discipline, and love of freedom. Their resistance inspired the Greeks to unite against the Persians, and finally defeated them at the battles of Salamis and Plataea, ending the Persian threat. The legacy of the 300 Spartans has resonated throughout the centuries. Their story has inspired generations with its message of unwavering courage in the face of adversity. Their sacrifice reminds us that freedom has a price, and that sometimes, the greatest victory is the one won with honor and sacrifice. The 300 Spartans became an enduring symbol of the indomitable human spirit. Their story, immortalized by historians like Herodotus, has transcended the boundaries of time and culture, becoming an eternal example of courage and determination. Section 7. Remembering the 300 Eternal Inspiration. The story of the 300 Spartans remains as relevant today as it was centuries ago. It reminds us that courage, discipline, and dedication to an ideal can overcome even the most daunting obstacles. The bravery of Leonidas and his men inspires us to defend what we believe in, even in the face of adversity. In a world where freedom is often taken for granted, the story of the 300 Spartans reminds us that freedom is a precious commodity that must be protected at all costs. Their sacrifice inspires us to be brave in our own lives, to stand up for what is right, and to never give up the fight for freedom. As the Greek poet Simonides of Ceos said in his epigram dedicated to the Spartans who fell at Thermopylae, "Go tell the Spartans, stranger passing by, that here, obedient to their laws, we lie." May the story of the 300 Spartans continue to be a source of inspiration for generations to come.